Hey guys, so today we're gonna be checking out interior lighting. This is a set given to me by CJ. It's a treehouse. Looks pretty cool. So what I did was I turned all the shaders back to Lambert's, and I'll be lighting this set. Right. So I started from scratch. Right. So there are no lights, and the first thing I want to set up is the environment. So here in the camera, I turned the environment to somewhere around 50%. It doesn't really have to be exact. So it's just, ambient light, right? Like I'll be bringing this up to 50. That means that the whole environment will be this light gray color, right? And then I'll be going into final gathering. So I enabled final gathering, turned the accuracy to 10, point density point 0.1, and then point interpolation 10. And then let's see what happens. Let me render this out. Oh yeah, I forgot to um, set the secondary diffuse bounces to 0. Now render this out. So this is pretty decent, right? We have 15 seconds in the render time. But as you guys can see, we're getting these artifacts, these circles here. Now, if I render the sequence, these circles would be flickering like crazy. That's final gather. So what we have to do is we have to pump up the point interpolation. Let's bring it to 200. Because point interpolation is what smooths out the final gather. So bringing that up to 200, I'd expect this to become a lot smoother. So let's see what happens. It added the render time a lot. It added a lot to the render time. Um, but yeah, we're getting that result I want. This nice smooth result. Yeah. So right off the bat, as you can see, the environment is leaking into the set. Like we're getting nice final gather here, and yeah, it's doing pretty well. Um, that's a lot of render time. But yeah, it's a lot smoother. We're getting 1 minute in the render time. Okay. What we can do is let's bring this down to 100, but let's double the point density. So this will become zero point 0.2. Let's render that. So as you guys can see, right off the bat, I'm setting up my I'm setting up my final gather for a animated sequence, right? Just want to get this down so when I do add lights, it will be a lot faster. It will be easier. So as soon as I put in a light, I won't have to worry about flickering. Yeah, yeah, getting a bit of those circles, but not as much as before. All right, so that's 41 seconds. That's pretty good for something with a lot of polygons and just final gather. Right, so I think I'm happy with these settings. Let's proceed with adding in my key light. So I'll turn on lighting here in the viewport. I'm in viewport 2.0. I'm using Maya 2015. So um, yeah, the new viewport. Not really new because the new viewport is in the 2017. Anyways, I digress. So I'll be adding in my key light. I wanted to come in from this side, from the side of the uh, telescope. And then let's turn on shadows for that, just so I can draw out my shadows, right? So I can work in the shot camera view. For your shot cameras, guys, I'd wanna push that you guys move the display options and turn them into darker displays, right? So all you see are just the objects inside the shot cam, right? So I'll be drawing this shadow. So I want the shadow to be like around this area, yeah, and then maybe angle it a bit. Now, as you can see, we have a big hole here, so we don't want the key light to be bleeding into that side of the set. So I can just put that key light here. Now that's pretty good. Let's set up the shadows for this. Now, since it's a morning shot, the shadows are pretty smooth. So I'll put this light angle to 1 and then 8 for the shadow rays. That's how the shadow rays define how smooth the shadows will be. So I'm giving 8 rays for a light angle of 1. The light angle is how soft, how blurred the shadows will be. Uh, okay, so I'll render this out. Yeah. And there we go. We have a nice key light there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright, that's the key light. And then I'll be throwing in a rim light from here. Alright, anytime now. When you're ready. 59 seconds. Alright, so this is nice. This is a nice key light. We have the shadows. And this is what I mean by samples, shadow rays. So you see these dots. Now, that's how blurred these shadows are, right? But these dots, if you want them to be smoother, like those speckles there, if you want that to be smoother, you have to pump up the shadow rays. Um, the amount of dots Maya is gonna add is based on your light angle. Okay, so just keep that in mind. For this kind of shot, since that's pretty far away, like those dots, I wouldn't really mind unless they start flickering when you have a sequence. That's the only time I'd say increase your shadow rays. But for now, we can keep it at that. Okay, so next I'll be adding a rim light. Um, so as you can see, I'm just working with directional lights for now. Duplicate that and then throw it in this area. Okay, that's not working out for me. So I'm gonna go back to perspective, and then I'm gonna turn this into a point light. So directional light, point light. There you go. So that point light, I'm gonna position right here in the window. Now, as you guys can see, it's not outside the window; it's inside the window. Um, right there. That's pretty good actually. I'll be turning this into a. I'll be turning the decay to linear, and let's just add a bit of decay there. Now I can push this in a bit more. Let me just turn this up to world and then push this guy in a bit more. Alright, I maybe move him up a bit and we get that. So let's just see if it will cast the rim light on the telescope and the tree. So it's not adding the rim light we want. So I'll be adding that rim light in manually in a bit. So this is what I want, like when I'm dealing with windows, I really like this, bleeding effect, like this glow, like how sunlight comes in and it's hazing. To get that effect, the best technique I figured out was putting in that point light inside as opposed to, having it outside. Now, it is casting a shadow here, which I don't really like. So since we're casting it linearly, so it's only affecting a certain area. Well, it is affecting everything, but these shadows are very annoying and distracting, and it's breaking up the composition we have. So I'm gonna go to this light, and let's see what happens if I turn the decay to quadratic, and then bring it up to 50. 200. No, that's gonna burn here in the side. No, I think linear was good. We can stay with 2. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty good. I can. What I'm trying to do is, so we have those shadows, right? So I figured these shadows, they're very distracting. What we can do is we can smooth out the shadows of this a lot. By a lot, I mean bringing this up to 10. No, 32. The ridiculous amount, right? So 32 and then 10 for the shadow rays. And what will happen is the shadows will be so smooth that you won't even see it. So see what happens. Now we're getting all these dots, right? A lot of sample issues here. So we have these dots. Let's bring up the light radius to 64, and then shadow rays to 32. See what happens. Now this will bump up render time pretty much, but this is a key light. You guys have to remember that this is a key light, and this light here will be in charge of a lot of the environment. So the way I see it, this light has to cast shadows. If I disable that, it's gonna look weird here in this area, and this side table here will not be casting shadows. So we're still getting the. Let me cancel that render, and then still getting those speckles. So maybe pump up shadow rays to 64 as well. 64. Render time is still pretty decent. So yeah. And there you go. Like that's pretty smooth. Um, the only real way to check is to render out the sequence and see if that flickers. If it does flicker, you guys have to increase the shadow rays. I wouldn't touch the radius anymore because we no longer see those shadows that it's been casting a while ago. But yeah, that looks pretty good. Render time is pretty high now. We're at We're past 2 minutes now, I guess. Let's see what happens. Anytime now. Right, so we're at 2 minutes and 33 seconds. So as you guys can see, this is pretty ridiculous, right? For just one light. And I wouldn't invest this much render time for something like that because I can get the same effect with a volume light. So let me turn this guy into a volume light. First, let me bring back shadows to 1 and 0. Uh, no, it was 0 and 1. Yeah, 0 and 1. And then let me turn this guy into a volume light. There. So what the volume light does is it's based off scale, right? So I have this guy. Um, Let me turn on X-ray. This guy here. I can push this guy back a bit more. No, that was pretty good because I like the bleeding effect again. So what I can do is I can scale him up. So here the volume light is touching the ceiling. Everything the volume light does not touch, everything the light touches. No, everything the volume light doesn't touch, um, will not receive light. So let me increase the sky a bit. There. Let me rotate him back to normal. Okay. Let me zero out those rotations. Okay, never mind. Alright, so this guy there. So the ceiling's gonna be pretty lit. The bottom's gonna be pretty lit. So let me just try this out, just to show you guys what it's gonna look like. Let me dump this and then render. So as you guys can see, it's touching the ceiling, it's touching the floor. It's not touching these areas here. So we're getting that effect. It's pretty good. I can push him forward a bit more. Just looking at this, I can push him forward a bit more. So let me push this guy forward a bit more. And then let me scale him up a bit just to add more intensity to the ceiling and floor. And then I can scale him at Z so it goes further out into the set, and then scale this up a bit more. Okay, and then let's render this guy out. There. See, so we're getting a similar effect, but this time I don't think the shadows will show up as much as it did with the point light, because the sphere we made, the stretched one, is not really touching these corners that much. So the shadows will not show up, should not show up in those areas. Okay, load. Load. Render. But as you can see, we're bleeding the light a lot more than we did with the point light. Um, There, we are seeing those shadows, but not as much as the point light did. Just a little more. Alright, 1 minute. As you can see, this is the point light. This is the volume light without the shadows modified. So that's a huge difference. So let me add in just a little blur on that shadow. Um, Let me take my volume light and then let's see here. Shadows. I'll go down to its shadows and then let me dump this. Light radius. Light angle and shadow rays are the same thing. I mean light radius and light angle are the same thing. Um, okay, so let me give this a radius of 3 and then volume rays at 16. Let's start there and see what happens. So I don't really want to pump up the volume of the render time that much. So let me render that region out. Yeah, and that shadow is gone. There you go. Yeah, it's pretty decent. So let me render out the legs and see if that blurred out as well. Yep, gone. Even the shadows here on this area, like the nooks and crannies. Let me render the whole thing so you guys can see the difference. Yeah, see now we're getting that beautiful shadow here. And these, yeah, that looks good. With a lot less render time too. Now that's not even the best part of volume lights. I'll show you guys the best part of volume lights. Soon as this is done rendering. Anytime now. Yeah, those shadows are gone. This looks good. Well, there's still a bit on the legs, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, you will have like a wood texture on it anyway, so those shadows won't be seen. Yeah, this is good. This is exactly what I want. All right, so that's 1 minute and 20 seconds. As you can see, the shadows are blurred out here. Blurred out shadows. Compared to this, which gave us 2 minutes and 33, right? So volume lights, my friends, volume lights are really, really useful. Now, that's not the only thing volume lights can do. Volume lights come with a gradient, as you guys can see here, color range. So white is from its source here. Black is when it's gone, right? Now what if I click here, I can add a color. So I can turn this into a blue. No, don't change the value. Sorry. Change the value I got used to. Yeah. Don't change the value, just the hue, right? Hue and saturation. So I'm gonna give this like this deep, nice blue here. I don't really want to oversaturate that guy. But here early on, here I can add in a yellow or orange kind of thing going on. I can take this guy and then just add a bit more saturation to it so it blends nice. All right, so this is our first scene, right? Like let me dump that and then let me render this out. So as you guys can see now, it's casting. color, which is amazing for lighting, because that way create um, you can create saturated areas with just one light, compared to adding in a blue light there and a blue light here and then a yellow light here. You're already coloring your set with your lights, which is really great for something like this. Now this is coming in a bit too soon. I want the blues to be in this area. So that's easy. Like, I can delete this blue, and then I can take a point here closer to the black. Black is all the way here in the back. Or I can take the black. No, no, don't take the black. Sounds so wrong. Don't take the black. Okay, so this guy, you give him saturation and give him the blue color. There. So let's see what happens. That should blend into a blue pretty well. Let me turn this guy up and see what happens. There, so we're getting a blue further down the road. Let me cancel that. Let me saturate this guy a lot more. Oh, I moved him. You don't want to move the values because you want the light to gradate the same way, right? Um, you know, yeah, no, that's right. So I added saturation to that. Maybe let's add in just a little bit of value. I really think that's a bad idea, but let's see what happens. So we're getting the blue in the mid-range there. Okay, so let's do the opposite. Since we're getting it mid-range, let's not put the blue in just yet. Let me take the blue, and then I want this to be the orange part. This I want to be really orange. So let me get closer to red. And then let's start at a whiter white. Does that even make sense? Alright, start from a white. Turn that. We can delete that. And then that should turn from white to brown, or white to orange. There you go. So we're getting that orange here. Yeah, that's something I like. And then this will deal with another volume light here on this side. Alright. Okay, so I don't have to render this guy out all the way. Let me desaturate this guy a bit more. So desaturate, just because I don't want that brown to bleed up too much. And then this guy too, desaturate. Okay. Let's increase the intensity. No, later on. We'll increase intensity in post. So that's a good habit to maintain. Increase intensity in post. Okay? Okay. So now, I'm not getting the same bleed here in front. So I'm going to add in a light here. Okay? So let me add in a volume light. Let me duplicate this volume light. And then add it here. In this area. But I want it to be a lot less scaled, right? No, on second hand, let's make a new one, because this will have a lot of different settings. So I'm gonna move this volume light here to the window, to the window, to the wall. Okay. Hey. No. What is happening? There. R. Scale that guy up. Now my only worry is it will start bleeding onto the telescope, but let's see what that looks like. So I'm gonna render this region out. Yeah, that's the bleed I wanted. So now we're getting the light into the set, and we're also getting a rim onto the telescope, which is perfect. So that's pretty good. I think I should have two though, one on top and one on the bottom. So I'm gonna duplicate that guy. But first, let me take a selfie. No, I mean, but first, let me scale that up sideways so that blur on top, this light bleed here, like I want that to bleed a bit more on the sides. But then, after that, we have to deal with the shadows. So let's take the same shadow settings. So that's 316. Let's just do that same thing here. So 316, right? I'm gonna have two of those, so don't know if this is a good idea. Let me scale this guy down a bit more and then duplicate, just so they don't, you know, they don't fight each other too much. So now we're getting this guy here. Let's see what that looks like. So again, let me render out that region. There. So now we're getting the nice bleed into the set. Ah, this is perfect. Nice. Yeah, I love it. This is good. Just need one rim light here on this guy from here. Nice. Rim light will be perfect right now. Alright. Getting that bleed. That looks great. Okay. I need to see the other side if we're still getting that brown there. Because if not, I might need to change the settings of the colors. Yeah, we're still getting that nice brown here. So I think I was right with the blue a while ago. You know, that's the thing with lighting, because you're painting. It's like you're painting, so making these decisions, uh, they really change. You know, like don't really commit to a decision you made early on. Yeah, so instead of the brown, I'm gonna go with the blue. Let me undo that, and then go with the blue. Because that way, this guy here, and then early on, I will add in that yellow. So that area stays yellow and blue, and this area stays white, and we can change that later on. There, so we're getting that nice blue here in the back. Let me, in the corners, that's what I wanted. So these corners, let me saturate that to really bring out that nice blue. Saturate. Careful to not, oversaturate what you're doing. So there we're getting that nice blue in the sides. Okay. Now here in the middle, let me saturate this guy. So we get that nice yellow here in the middle. And that's a bit too much. Too yellow! This is another thing I love about Final Gathering. You can see your whole set in just a few seconds. You don't really have to wait for the whole thing to render to check colors. So that's why I like with Final Gather on. Okay. So now I can iterate colors a lot faster. Okay, so let's deal with these lights here in the front. I want them to be casting a color. So let me start from a yellow. We start with this guy. And then I want to be starting with the same yellow I'm using on the other side. but I want to be ending again with that same blue. Saturate this guy around here. Let's see what that looks like. Render again. Should be getting a nice yellow here on top. Yeah. And then gradate into a blue. So now, since we're already getting the blue from this giant light here in the back, I think we don't really need to add the blue there anymore. So let's try and bring in that brown we had a while ago, and let's see what that does. Render that guy out. Nah, it's not. It's casting here, but it's not casting on this wall. Looks weird. So I think that was good enough. We should stick to that blue here, and let's do the same thing for this guy. So we have this same yellow, and then and get that nice blue again. Yeah. Right. Render this out one last time. And voila. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright. Alright, that was great. I won't finish the render because I want to proceed to this area here at the back. Okay, so now I'm going to take this giant volume light we made, duplicate that, and I want the same effect here on this side. So I'm going to bring this outside though, because I don't want too much of this, and I will scale it up a bit more, like that. There. Now, it should look pretty good. Yeah. The viewport is out of whack because volume lights don't work inside the viewport, so it's not gonna be much help checking the viewport. You have to check your renders. And there you have it, guys. A nice bleed in the end. That's what we all want. Now I'm gonna do the opposite here on this light for the colors. So on this giant light we have here in the front, I'm gonna make sure that it casts an orange in the end and then starts with a blue, because I want that blue to be in front. And then we can even manipulate that blue down a bit. And let's see what that looks like. There, so we're getting that. It's a bit closer to purple. Wouldn't want that. Maybe midway it turns into an orange. There, like midway. Early on, let's go to a more lighter blue. Closer to the green, because this is too close to purple. Okay, midway is not working out. Let me try down here, further down the road, and let's render that out. There we go. I think that's what I want. Yeah. Not really though. Now we'll add one more light. We'll add one more light to this. Let me saturate this guy a bit more, so you really get that nice blue. Now again, I'm really thinking with blue here. So let me bring that guy back. Take this guy. Instead of the blue, bring it back to that orange. Sorry guys, I'm changing my mind. It's really decisions like that make all the difference. So turn this guy to the orange that we made there. Let's see what happens. This blue is getting in the way. There we go. And then now we can decrease blue here. Okay, so a nice decision we can make right now is this is casting a light, which is pretty weird, right? Like there's a light coming in here. So now we're giving that illusion that this is a hole. So let's remove that illusion, right? Like let me take this guy. Um, let me bring him into the area. Yeah, like into the area, right? Let me delete that orange it's making for now. And then I'm gonna take a polygon plane and I'm gonna cover that area up. But then what will happen to the camera? We won't see anything inside. Don't worry, because when I put this in, I'm gonna make sure it, it's not visible in the render. But it will cast shadows, it will receive shadows, it will receive motion blur. I don't know if we want this. Uncheck motion blur. Smooth shading, it won't be seen. Visible in reflections, visible in refractions, but most important is it's visible in final gather. That's supposed to be here. Mental ray. Visible in final gather. Final gather, cast and receive. Now the thing is, I can turn this color into a blue. So it backs up that blue that we made. There. So now that will cast a blue final gather. Let's see what that looks like. There you go. Now we're talking. So now it's really casting a shadow here, which is what I want. And then the blue is casting in. It's giving us this effect. I love it. But now, since that blue is already casting from the final gather, I can take this giant light we made and I can turn this into a uh, yellowish color. Let me desaturate that a bit, just so it counteracts the blue a little bit, and see what that looks like. A bit too much. Okay, this light is quite potent, counteracting the blue a bit too much. Um, hmm, this is a difficult decision, huh? Let me move this back a little bit. Split it up sideways. Okay, I still want that blue, so I scaled it up, but this time I'm gonna add that blue in here in the edge. I want that to be the yellow, right? So what's that gonna look like? Delete this yellow. Let's see if I just go all blue. Okay. This is not what I want. um, Let me try and keep him in this area then. So this area is blue. Okay, and then let me give this guy a value of 1. No, that's too much. Yeah, let's just increase that value a bit because I just want to keep him in this area. So let me render that out. Okay, so it's casting that blue, but I want it to touch the branch a little bit. Huh, the chest is still white. What's happening there? Let's check that area out. Chest is white. Why is the chest white? Oh, it's leaking out, huh? That's funny. I should move this guy back a bit more. Apparently those areas are seen. Okay, so now that chest should be black. There you go. Okay, so we're getting that blue here in the corners. This edge here, that's perfect. So I want this whole thing to gradate into orange. That's what's happening. Now for the tree, I will add in one more volume light for that, just for that. So let me duplicate this volume light. Let's move this forward for that tree area. So now we're controlling the gradation. This tree area here. Let's move it closer to the tree trunk. Scale this up a little bit. And then down. And turn this blue into yellow. Nice and desaturated. Let's see what that gives this area. Actually, I think we could leave this at white. Hmm. We're almost there, guys. Bleeding too much. Let me delete this. So weird, you know, when you come down to this point of the lighting. So weird. So I'm increasing that value there, just so it touches this area. Oh my gosh, so weird. The light should come from here. Whatever's gonna light this guy up should come from here. So, click, go from here. Okay, let me try one more thing. Let me scale this guy and this guy sideways, so they touch the tree. Right? That should work. So I scale these guys up, and they should be casting a lot more onto the tree. There. So we're getting that on the tree. I think that's good. Yeah, that's perfect for that. Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. What I can do though with this one here, instead of having it cast black in the end, I can have it cast the whitish yellow in the end. It should cast that instead of black. Nah, I gave it to the whole thing. Never mind. Yeah, that was good. That's good enough. So I'll finish this render. And yeah, so the thing is, guys, really just play around with your volume lights until you get what you want. You know, that's the beauty of lighting, is really just playing around with the lights until you get what you want. But you have to keep in mind the lights you add are gonna cast shadows, and if you are animating, now that's the biggest difference, right? Like if you are animating characters in the shot, like lights on this angle look good on this angle, but once I start changing the angle, or if I have a moving camera, you guys have to start thinking about lights on the other side and how that's gonna look, right? So just keep in mind that, you know, maybe lights won't work all over, you know. Um, so yeah, the way I work in animation is I light every shot differently. Well, it depends. Not every shot, but you know, like every shot with a different camera angle, that's usually lit in a different way, with the same lights, but you know, just different arrangements. Sometimes even with additional lights for extra rim and stuff. And that's what we're gonna add next is the rim light on the telescope and the tree, because I believe these are the subjects. And we'll even go in and add a fog here, so that should look good as soon as this is done rendering. Oh yeah, this blue light here in the end does not have to cast shadows. I forgot. Um, it doesn't have to cast shadows. This blue light here in the back, here, the one we made here in the back, it does not have to cast shadows. So if I render this, because the shadows are already being cast by our main lights here, so now we don't really need that shadow casting. See, there's not much of a difference. So we don't need that shadow casting, and that will save us a lot of render time. So that's another thing you guys have to look out for, is your shadows. Let me scale up this light here in the back, in the front, I mean, here. Let me scale this guy up because it's not casting enough intensity. Okay, I want more. Give me more. So this is gonna be closer to. I'll keep it at that. Let me just add 0.2 to that. Just, you know, really push that glow in the back. There. That looks a lot more like sunlight. Okay, now let's add in the fog. Let me also want to add in a background image to that. Let me look for outdoor panorama cartoon forest cartoon. Cartoony cartoon. Oh, this one looks good. Why am I? Yeah. Save this image onto my desktop. Cartoon panel. And then let's open Photoshop. Import that object to desktop. And then blur this guy out. So filter, blur Gaussian. Gaussian blur. Save that. You can exit Photoshop. Go back into our scene and then create a polygon plane. Rotate this guy and then put it in the background. Okay, so with this I have to be in perspective. Look at this. Primary visibility should work. Let me just add a. Okay. Let me turn off the lights and then turn on textures. So let me throw in a cast shadows, perceived shadows, primary visibility off. I don't know if I wanted to cast Final Gather. And then disable all of this. Primary visibility, no, that's on, sorry. Just cast and receive shadows, smooth shading, visible reflections. Yeah, that's great. Reflections. Okay, so in the surface shader, I'll throw in that guy. Desktop. Cartoon panel. Now, this is really important, putting in a environment in your windows, just so you can see, especially if it's the environment of your set that you're working on, because this will show you if your lighting is actually working with the environment you were given, right? Um, so, yeah. So let's say that's what I want, and then render this. Let's see if it works out. So that's doing pretty well, but I want to push this. So I'm going to go into our color gain here. Just add a bit more gain. So 1.1, 1.5, or let's just go all the way, no, 1.5, 1.5. And let's change this color to something a bit warmer. And that should suit our needs. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Perfection. I think we should bleed a little more green into the set. That would be cool. Really get the colors we want. I really think these colors are not working out. But then again, you guys have to remember, you will have textures. So, and this is all wood textured, like this will look amazing with the wood textures. Yeah. There we go. Okay, finally the rim light I was talking about. Okay, so I'm gonna add in a directional light. I need to turn on lights again. they have this basic idea, this angle here. Let me turn on lights. And let me get all the volume lights and put them in the same layer so they're hidden. And then this way I can look at the rim and just the rim. So there, and then let me turn on shadows. Okay, so let's see, this is all a separate object. No. Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna go to perspective mode and I'm gonna select everything here. Yeah. And then go back to, I'm gonna group that. I'm gonna go back to perspective, perspective 1. Forgot to select the floor. There. Okay. So I'm gonna select. Let me. Okay. I'm gonna select this light, and then this, and then break light links. So light, break light links. So the light is not gonna touch um, the the set, and it's only gonna cast onto the tree. So let me check that. Again, we hid the volume light, so it's gonna be quite dark. I'm only checking the rim light. There we go. We got that rim light. That's the rim light I want. For the directional light, I can take this guy here and then smooth those shadows out. So by smooth, I mean just the 3 and 8 would do. Then I duplicate this light and then rotate it this way. Turn off shadows. And it should cast um, onto the telescope. And with the same shadows and same light links. So I have to select this guy, select the group, lighting, shading, break light links, and then let's check the telescope. It's a bit too much, so I'm gonna rotate this guy back just a touch. Rotate you back slightly, and we can bring back our volume and render the final render. Awesome. And that's it, guys. That's how I render interior lights. So I hope this helped you guys out. Um, oh yeah, one more thing, the fog. The fog. Let's just add in that fog. Yeah, let's just add in that fog. It's gonna be quite heavy. Okay, so we have our directional light, our first key light. That's light 1. Let's go to object mode, and we can pull that guy out. And if we create a spotlight, it should cast the same shadows theoretically. And just turn on shadows there. So this is our directional light. Let me turn this guy into a spotlight. Okay, so directional light, spotlight. Okay, and see cone angle. It's not the same. Cone angle has an effect, so make sure your cone angle is only focused on your shadow there. Okay. Let's bring up. Yeah, no. Let's not touch the penumbra. I'm sorry. There. And then now you can go to light effects, light fog, and just hit the texture, and that will cast the fog. So let's go back here and let's check on that. So hit render region. And Maya crashed. uh, that's it. I'm done.